The Beastmaster is frickin' cool. Definitely near the top of most lists of classic sword and sorcery films, it's a movie that never had an idea that it wouldn't throw at the screen. A switchblade boomerang, a village on stilts, a black tiger, a ziggurat, glowing-eyed armored berserkers who guard said ziggurat, sexy witches with decaying faces, a baby transferred into the womb of a cow, silent bat people who digest humans with their eerie hugs, a moat of boiling tar, a ring that contains the eye of a witch, a basin that shows faraway visions but can also be used as a portal for a sword thrust. This movie just does not stop. This isn't surprising coming from director Don Coscarelli, unleashed here with his first big-budget film. Coscarelli made his mark with the disjointed horror classic Phantasm, which shares Beastmaster's everything in the kitchen sink storytelling. A mortuary is haunted by a terrifying giant who can turn himself into an alluring woman, and the halls are guarded by a murderous flying orb, and the evil plan is to kidnap humans and turn them into dwarves for slavery on an alien world with heavy gravity. Whoa, yeah, all that. And like Beastmaster, Phantasm resulted improbably in multiple sequels and a lot of nostalgia. Way to go, Coscarelli. The Beastmaster follows the stereotypical sword and sorcery beats. A youth witnesses his home and family destroyed by marauders, led by a powerful sorcerer. He trains to take revenge and grows into a muscle-bound wanderer who receives some sort of supernatural aid that allows him to bring down the sorcerer, but not before cutting a swath through an evil army. Along the way, there's magic, terrible dialogue, some boobs, improbable violence, and triumphant music. There's always something that elevates a great film above the dreck. In Conan, it was the film's complete seriousness regarding its absurd subject matter. In my favorite, Sword and the Sorcerer, it's the creative gore and a cool sword. And if you ask somebody about the Beastmaster, they'll probably remember one of three things: the animals, especially the black tiger and the ferrets, Tanya Roberts skinny dipping, and the creepy human slurping bat people. Obviously, the animals give the movie its name. Because Dar spent some hours as a baby in the womb of a cow, our hero could communicate with animals, and even see through the eyes of an eagle. Beastmaster is maybe a misnomer since Dar fights alongside his animal friends and has trouble commanding them to do much, but Beast Buddies would have been a terrible name. The film's ideas are loosely based on a 1959 sci-fi novel about a Navajo astronaut who returns to Earth and can communicate with genetically altered animals, so don't expect any clear explanations there either. Along the way, Dar also assembles a team of humans. John Amos pulls off heroic dignity as one of Dar's father's soldiers on the lam. Oh, did I mention Dar is the heir to the throne? Sorry. So he actually has had two families slaughtered by Rip Torn's campy villain Mayax, one royal and one adopted. Anyhow, Amos projects heroism and wisdom while dressed in an oddly kinky leather outfit. He's training Dar's younger half-brother. Together they rescue Tanya Roberts, who's a slave girl, princess, a warrior, something. None of that's very clear. She seems really into her probable cousin Dar, though, and only demonstrates her prowess in battles in the finale. As a slave girl, she seems pretty free to hang out at waterfalls with strangers, although she's on her way to be sacrificed for reasons. But anyhow, I have to say that Roberts, the least remembered Charlie's Angel and one of the worst remembered Bond girls, is actually better in this than anything I've ever seen her in, except for maybe that 70s show where she was pretty good. And she looks smashing. Oh, and there's a cowardly cart driver, and Dar befriends those man-eating bat people. I mean, with so many characters, it's understandable that some viewers complain that the movie meanders. I'd counter with the argument that form follows content. This movie is not just a relentless pursuit of righteous violence. It's about gathering family. It's like an oiled-up, sword-wielding outlaw Josie Wales. But it's true that the Beastmaster defies the standard's three-act structure. The lengthy prologue about Dar's birth is crucial to the story, but could have made more sense as a pre-credit sequence. The movie has two climaxes. Dar vanquishes the sorcerer Mayax, and then there's a big showdown between all the heroes and the fearsome Jun Horde, in which we ask ourselves once again, if Dar is the Beastmaster, why doesn't he ask the enemy's horses for assistance? But plot holes are all over this film, and you really need a heart of stone to be focused on that. Why are the human gobbling bat people cooking up severed head stew when they seem pretty happy digesting people whole? It looks cool. Dar's father Zed, arguably the most incompetent good guy leader until Denethor in Return of the King, learns that Mayax plans to rip his son out of his wife's womb and sacrifice the child, and he snappily says,
"You are banished for life.
Somehow Zed stays on the throne after his wife's death, but after fathering another heir, he's blinded and locked up by Mayax. When did this happen? Why did this happen? Why didn't he kill Zed? I mean, well, you know it, so you can see Dar, Tanya Roberts, and the ferrets infiltrate a ziggurat full of green-eyed berserkers. As an aside, a major plot point happens off-screen. King Zed leads his people into a death trap to recover his kingdom, and they're slaughtered. Now, I'd put this down to budget constraints rather than narrative editing choices, but the movie already is pretty long, and I did not need one more big battle sequence. Coscarelli is erratic on where money is and is not spent in this film.
It's only a model.
But then they build a full-scale ziggurat and that village on stilts and the city gates, which are pretty cool, and they paid for all those animals and animal trainers. Yet the sexy witches' masks are pretty bad, and the on-location scenes seem like they were done in just a few days. Budgets were tight. Indulgences were judiciously made. Back to the plot holes, a fall from a massive cliff proves fatal to a bad guy, but when our heroes fall off seconds later, they land safely in a hay cart, and suddenly we're in the territory of Disney comedy. Here again is something Beastmaster does that is incredible. This movie, with skinny dipping, child sacrifice, eyes being put out, and a road lined with impaled corpses, was rated PG. Okay, that's a sign of the times, when PG sometimes got away with a lot more than it can now, but also it's a sign that the Beastmaster was walking a fine line. There is outrageous violence, but there's no gore. There is a lengthy voyeuristic topless scene, and there's no sex whatsoever. And the scenes with the animals could easily have fit into any Wonderful World of Disney production. Where The Sword and the Sorcerer, for example, the same year reveled in its R rating, the Beastmaster passed on most adult content and focused on magic and wild adventure. The movie was played so frequently on the nascent HBO, the first major pay TV channel, that Dennis Miller joked that HBO stood for, "Hey, Beastmaster's on." As an intro to sword and sorcery films, Beastmaster is as good as you can get. There's maybe a scene or two that you have to blush at and tell your millennial nephew that sexual harassment was more expected from manly heroes in the 80s.
I'll accept this as payment.
But on the whole, it stands up very proudly. You got magic, muscles, adventure, action. What more could you possibly ask for?